Hey, happy Friday to you. It is July 22nd, time for this week's Friday Funnies. Let me start off with a question. Hot enough for you? Well, I would venture to say that in most parts of the country, the answer to that question this week would be something along the lines of, what are you, some kind of comedian? It's 103 degrees outside, you freaking moron. Of course it's hot enough for me. If I wanted it any hotter, I'd go directly to hell, where I'll be saving you a seat, you stupid a-hole. Something like that. People tend to get very testy when they get hot. You know, as of this writing, it is 99 degrees outside in Chicago, and it's on its way up. And in fact, a heat warning has been issued by the government for 44 states. You can see them highlighted right here. 44 states, as President Obama would say, whoa, 44 out of 57. That's quite a few. Well, if you're bothered by the heat, I have 3 tips for you that'll help to keep you cool, and you may want to write these down. Here's tip number 1. Keep your underwear in the freezer overnight. That way you get up in the morning, you put on a pair of icy shorts, and it'll keep you cool until your first coffee break. Tip number 2, you get those ice cubes with the holes in them. You know, you've seen those. Buy a bag of those, string them into a necklace, and wear the necklace until it melts. And then when it does, string up more and wear another necklace, and that certainly should keep you busy. And tip number 3, excessive heat makes it very hard to sleep at night. So do your sleeping during the day. Find yourself a nice air-conditioned mattress store, lie down on one of their mattresses, pop an Ambien, and tell them to wake you up at closing time. Yeah, there's all kinds of ideas. Anyhow, since heat makes people do odd things, I thought that this week I would go to other parts of the world to find our Friday Funnies, where the temperature and the weather might be a little more normal and the stories might be a little more bizarre. So that being said, join me on this special Friday Funnies edition of News from Around the World. Our first stop, Moscow. Russian Premier Vladimir Putin is running for re-election next March, but the campaigning has already begun. In Moscow this week, young female supporters of Putin have been walking around town wearing black suits and high heels and white tops on which they scrawled the words in lipstick, "I will tear off my clothes for Putin." And after they show you what they've written, then they do it. And then they try to get other women to take off their clothes in the hopes of winning an iPad too. Wow, all I wish to say about this is, attention all U.S. presidential candidates. This is a great idea. Please do this. I'll even donate the iPad 2 you can give away. Please, on behalf of all of us, let's follow Russia. All right? Next stop, let's go all the way down to the Philippines. All right, in Manila, in the Philippines, Manila, of course, famous for their envelopes, the government down there issued a warning to residents not to use geckos to treat AIDS or impotence. Apparently, they've been using the little lizards as a medicine down there to treat both of these ailments. I don't really know what they do. I guess they grind it up and mix it with some pudding. Anyhow, after a study, the government said, oh no, gulping geckos is not going to do you any more good than swallowing toads, and much less tasty. So the geckos will do absolutely nothing for you in the Philippines. Also, the caveman and Flo will do you no good medicinally, but they could save you up to 15% on your car insurance. Next stop, right north to Tokyo, Japan. Yes, you read that correctly. Warning, warning, this story has a yuck factor of 7. Please don't say you weren't warned. In Tokyo, Japan, a Japanese researcher has developed a steak made from... It's not too late to skip the rest of this story. Okay. He developed a steak made from human poop. That's right. Apparently, Mitsuyuki Aikida Guess he's got a furniture store over here, too. Mitsusuki Aikida, he developed the proteins, or he isolated the proteins in human poop and used them to create some sort of a butt steak, I guess. According to the test, people said it tasted a lot like meat that had been dropped in the toilet. All right, from here, let's make one more stop to Austria. In Stockerau, Austria, thieves have made off with a rather unusual haul. They stole a semi-tractor that was loaded with 21 tons of ketchup and mustard. They think the thieves might be on their way to Japan, where the demand for condiments has gone way up from people trying to kill the taste of the poop meat. Hey, that's all I have for you this week. Thanks for joining me in my little trip around the world. Please resend, repost, retweet these to all of your friends, and I will see you again next week from beautiful Southern California. Have a great weekend.